And you can just go right into this.
Oh yeah, always time. No, you're the host.
All right.
You gotta say, without further hesitation, Spider Murphy, just say it, and then you can say whatever you want after the song's done.
Okay, sounds good. Right. Welcome to the stage, the one, the only Spider Murphy.
Dream get shattered just by waking up in the morning. Drink my coffee. Cause I forgot the milk. Yes, so scared. Driving down the road with the crazy. I don't care, if I ever get to work on time. I need more love in my life. I need you to come and play more often. I don't need no love to come away. I'm not laughing. Yeah. Not laughing. Let your friends, your acquaintances, I get behind that. I'm gonna send you back to your mother. She don't know. She kind of forgetful. To and fro. I gotta go. I need more love in my life. I need you to come and lay more often. I don't need no lover. I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing.
Woo! Yeah.
Hi, Amber.
Hi.
It's so good to be here.
Yeah. So Spider Murphy is a musician that I work with at Mahogany Jazz Hall, and he does amazing music with his band. Now, remind me the name of the band.
Fatback Vipers.
Fatback Vipers.
Think of bacon and a snake, like a bacon snake.
Sounds delicious.
But I want to correct you early on here.
Uh-oh.
You don't work with me. I work for you.
Oh. I like to think of it as a collaborative effort, but
it is, and it's very organic, and sometimes we don't see each other.
That's true.
We can hear each other.
Yeah.
But we can't see each other.
So Mahogany Jazz Hall, like many old jazz halls or bordellos from the 1900s, they had jazz in the front, burlesque in the back. And Spider Murphy does jazz in the front and dealing with the tourist, and I deal with the tourist in the back doing burlesque, and it's an absinthe-inspired burlesque show. Yeah.
The Fatback Vipers and myself, we vet the tourists before they head back to see Amber.
Yeah, he gets them riled up for me, and then I dance to their music.
I keep the creepy ones out.
Yes. He threatens them with a heavy banjo.
I'll sit on you with my banjo.
So we're here today to talk about the connection between your artistic expression and your mental health and how they affect each other. So just throwing it wide open out there, what comes to your mind, first of all, when you talk about artistic expression connected with mental health for you?
For me, you really want to get that deep.
Let's get deep.
Okay.
Do some soul searching.
Well, the one thing that comes to mind is, let's start with demons.
Oh. Because
the block that we work on is the most haunted block in all of New Orleans.
Mm.
And I know this because I saw a seminar at Comic-Con up in Michigan, and the three most experts in their field, there were most experts in paranormal, hauntings, people under the city, those kind of things. And I happened to turn Netflix on, and I saw the three guys from New Orleans. And when they were asked at the seminar, it was question and answer, where the most haunted place was. They all looked at each other and at the same time said, first block of Charters. where we are.
Nice.
So they called it the portal to hell.
Oh no.
So okay, I'm tying this into mental health.
Going to hell.
Yeah, I've been back into the city here now for 4 years. I lived up in Colorado at 2 miles up on the backside of Pikes Peak. I was 2 miles above New Orleans. I'm below sea level. I was 2 miles above sea level before I came down here, which plays into the mental health thing too. There's a lot more oxygen down here. It was a lot worse up there.
Oh yeah, that's
but
true.
my wife of 28 years passed, and I was off the grid. I had to chop my own wood and everything. I mean, we had a cabin out in the 5 acres out in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds nice.
Oh, it was. It was our dream home. We were going to retire together up there, and I thought everything was going good here in the golden years of my life. But she decided to get cancer and passed away after 28 years. And you heard of the term hot and lonesome, like up in the Rocky Mountains. The guys up there, the trappers go up there to get the high lonesome. I was up there for 2 years by myself after she passed away, and I literally went insane.
Oh yeah, you got cabin fever. No pun
That
intended.
too.
Yeah.
That too. I miss my lady so much that I realized I had to, when I finally came out of my state and realizing that if I was going to live and save myself, I would have to leave and once again let the music save me. And it saved me before, and I know it will save me again. And God never talked to me. I was the guy God never talked to. And I was an altar boy. And suddenly, for the first time in my life, I asked him, I says, hey, I'm not really a religious guy. I'm more of a spiritual guy.
Yes.
And what happened was, this is like a confession here. I'm looking at it. But
Say a bunch of
God never talked to me. And I figured out why God never talked to me for 50-something years. Was I was asking for him, like, help me win the lotto. Help me get out of this predicament. Oh, I'll never do that again. I swear to God, if you just help, I would always ask him for things. But this time I was by myself and she was dying in the hospital. She only had a few months left. And I was sitting in front of my fireplace, which I still had to go out and chop wood in the middle of the winter. And chainsaws too. It was good, chainsaw. And God, I said, ask him for something. I asked him, how am I going to deal with this shit after she passes away? Because I was right at that point. And he actually, I heard him as clear as a crystal bell. He said, you know who all your acquaintances are, and you know all the people that are compassionate in your life. He says, you got to get rid of all your acquaintances and the people that you recognize not to be compassionate. And I knew it, that, what compassionate people look like and what they did. And I worked for them, helped them. So I knew. And he also said he had a mission for me. And that was it. He stopped talking to me again. He's got much more important crap than me. So, I had dreams. I had this dream of, I had been down here playing before with a few bands passing through. Spent a couple of years up in Bogalusa and looking at New Orleans from a North Shore view, which is kind of extra special. That's for the next show, I guess. But great musicians up there, but really good musicians down here. So I knew, my dad always told me, dad was a musician. He said he loves Louis Prima and Louis Armstrong. He says, son, if you get a chance, get to New Orleans. That's where the real musicians are. So I finally got here. And part of the deal was through a series of dreams that go back. When I was a little kid, I had these dreams of wrought iron balconies. Up in Massachusetts, there ain't no wrought iron balconies. There's fish. There's fish up there on Cape Cod, but there's no wrought iron balconies. And I had these dreams. And then in these dreams, it told me I had to come down here. I'm on this mission. He told me I'm some kind of mission. I don't know what it is. He didn't tell me. Thanks. And so I'm down here, and the woman I met, she works for the VA, and she's worked at Children's Hospital, worked children's trauma in the hospital. She's like one of the most compassionate people I ever met. And She's a shrink at the VA, couples counselor.
Oh.
So I knew this had to be good because I came to this. I've been married twice. One of them for 28 years and one for 2 years. That was a fun one. That was a real fun one. That's for another show.
That's the whirlwind romance.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah. It never quite turned into a whirlwind. It was a bunch of like dust storms. It's horrible. No, I know you want to, Amber. I know you want to hear that story, but we got to stick with this one.
All right.
All right.
Got it.
Okay, so we're still talking about mental health. Mine personally, I'm going to ask you after I'm done with the spiel
Sure.
why you chose me. I'm for this person, musical artist, in the mental health. I have problems, I guess.
We all do.
But no, I think this is very therapeutic right now.
Cool.
Where was I? Oh yeah, so I came down here and when I put the two and two together that the portal to hell is on that first block of charters. My first job when I got down here was across Canal Street, 1 block away. And every time, and I'd play there. She paid me well. It was called Red Gravy, but same address, 125 Camp Street, 125 Charters, where the mahogany is.
That's so weird.
It's very weird. So I watched the street get torn up for a year. I'd come out and smoke cigarettes on there. I got to get inside the quarter. I have to break in there. And I knew nothing at the time of it being the port of the hell. But apparently, my mission, I figured this out through dreams and whatnot. Apparently, my higher power sent me down here to plug up the hole. See, the first block of charters is the portal to hell, but it's actually the actual doorway is not on where Mahogany Hall is on Charters. It's around the corner. And as you know, they just
where the liquor store is?
No, those two strip clubs right in the middle.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I know, I mean, it's weird, man. I've observed. I've been playing here now for going on 6 years at this little corner, right on Canal. And when you watch tourists, they'll be talking and they're a little bit drunk. They walk down that sidewalk. They don't even talk about it. They just step off before they get to this portal to hell. They step off the curb, get out either in the middle of the street or they cross the street to the other side.
Weird.
And they don't know. I've been watching all this, and occasionally there's a demon or two, and they'll come up to the car and make their presence known, and they're stinky. And so I've seen a lot of weird stuff on that block. So getting back to my mental health. So I got to the point where I figured out what my mission was. Okay, I'm doing it right now. And I happen to meet Amber. Amber's on some kind of same. We're on the same river, but different boats. We're traveling in the same direction.
Right.
And she probably got a story for me, but that's for another show, how she came into this first block of Charter Street. So I want to keep improving my mental health because with being crazy, when you go crazy, you let your health go. So, my health was never gone. I have an overactive, oh, never mind about that. But it's not what you think. But anyway, I'm coming back. I'm like on 7.5 cylinders. I want to be knocking on all 8. So I have to continue my mental health. And I knew when I was a young man, I always been in the music business. I've always been gigging. I don't think there's been a week or two go by that I'm not playing somewhere or doing something in my whole life. And I found out at an early age I had to balance that with physical stuff. So what did I do? I picked the most grueling, second most grueling, roofing. Hot tar roofing is the most grueling. I got my journeyman's papers in California, and got my contractor's license to put in commercial and residential floors, and I made a lot of money doing that.
That's hard work.
Yeah, it is. I put my proctologist kids through college, man. It's like that's for another. That's another show. It's okay, Amber. We're one big family at the Hog. That's what we call the Mahogany Jazz Hall, the Hog. And so I'm continuing my mental health. So, I was crazy for all those years, and I let my health slide, but I'm getting it back. And part of it is instead of doing all the heavy labor, which took its toll on me, I decided I'm going to use my brain and work with it and jump into that whole compassion thing. I like the whole idea of being compassionate. My life changed tremendously in a short period of time because of just thinking about compassion. And Oh, I got skipped over the part where all the bad shit happened to me up in Colorado in a short period of time. But that's for another show. So what we're talking about now, here I am in New Orleans, meeting great people, compassionate people like Amber, and the people of all the people we work with. Some of them are even crazier than I am.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, they're bona fide crazy. I don't think I'm crazy, but
nobody ever does, right?
give a shit. Anyway, but I'm interested in this program, like the mental health thing, because whenever you asked me about this, it's like I never thought about it. I just didn't think about that shit.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm laying there going, she said a show recording, maybe it's a live radio show. I better start thinking a little bit about this. So I got some catchphrases and buzzwords I can throw out. But I think it's how, and then I thought about just me, my little personal thing, and it's so important. So what I did was I tried twice. I did it the second time. I got a teaching position with like 40 kids a week, very poor inner city kids, summer classes. I'm teaching music to little kids, and I feel like it takes me back. We get on the floor and we're banging drumsticks and banging tables and singing and dancing and learning how to play instruments and whatnot. And when those little kids let their little freak flag fly, I'm right there. It brings me back to being a small child. First time I heard music, my dad playing music and stuff. So I know what these kids, and they need it. They need it so bad to be doing some kind of musical thing, artistic, drawing, painting, dancing, anything.
Especially during the summer when
Yeah.
most parents are like, yeah, just go get, and then lock the door and like come back after for dinner or something
horrible.
like that.
And you know what? These kids, especially with the digital games and I use it. It's a major part of my business. The music business is online and computer and documenting and recording, all what we're doing right now.
Right.
And you have to do it. But when these kids are they come to class in the morning and they have to take another class. I think it's cooking, and they're bored. Stuff's baking in the oven, and they're bored out of their squashes, their little minds. They're playing, doing their phones and digital things. But the excitement that brings them, it doesn't look like anything like when I was playing Party Island with the kids.
Yeah, what is Party Island?
Party Island is where the kids all get a sheet of paper and they put them together on the floor and cooperate and make an island, and it's like musical chairs. I play a song and stop, and they got to get on the island because the sharks and the octopuses will eat them. And then they have to fold the paper in half, so immediately the island gets half the size. And that's when the pushing and falling down and the fun begins.
The fighting for their
lives. Fighting for their lives to stay on the island, and they get to sing songs and dance and play tambourines and shakers and their instruments, and it is like so much fun. It brings you back to being a kid. So let's talk about, instead of doing 30 years of hardwood floors and moonlighting as a musician, sometimes 5 nights a week while I get 2 hours sleep for years.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, but I'm not gonna give up my music.
Right.
Music, but I had a kid to feed, I had a wife that required things. So, and we're
always wanting stuff.
I know, like
food and shelter.
Food, stupid, clothing, So anyway, instead of doing something stupid for myself, going back to work and doing hard labor. But see, I needed the hard labor. The hard labor I knew would balance my music off, where I go to do my music in my head. And it worked for, like I said, 30 years, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Did you write songs as you were working?
Oh yeah, sold songs. I did radio and television commercials. I got a scholarship. I didn't graduate my senior year of high school. I graduated, but I didn't go because I got accepted at Berkeley College in Boston as a freshman, and they took me. And I struggled. I played my way through college. I was gigging before I went to college. I gigging during college. Boston was a real good place to play. Made a bunch of money there up in Cambridge.
Now, is Boston more bluesy?
It's they're having kind of a renaissance now of like Americana,
Okay.
like a lot of bluegrass, a lot of American blues, like old blues, acoustic blues, and a lot of young people are starting to listen to that stuff. There's such good bands out there, and just to look at them, they look like, how could they be any good? And then you hear them and go, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this in the closet.
Don't ever do that.
No, so I decided if instead of the doing the sweat stuff and the muscle stuff, I would just teach kids, because that really is hard on your brain.
Oh, and your patience and compassion level that you were talking about.
Well, it's really weird. When he spoke to me, he says, get rid of all the people that are not compassionate in your life. Call them acquaintances, And so I immediately went to my wife's cell phone, because we had mutual friends, and I went gone, 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 boop, 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 they're gone. And then I went to my phone and I realized, oh my God, outside of immediate family, and some of them are questionable. Like, who are these really
Always.
who are these compassionate people in my life? And then there was actually enough where, to get to the point where I had to leave, I said, I got to get out this mountain, because I'm going to die in this cabin up here. And they helped me. I got put together a support group. I picked the ones out, and I so much stuff when I was really wacky, because she passed away, and then my dog passed away, and within a year, I had the dog for 14 years. She passed away, and then one night I was playing down in the Springs at like 3 a.m. I had a 16-year-old girl run a red light and T-boned me on the driver's side and put me in the hospital. They said I wouldn't walk again. So after several surgeries, I'm walking. I'm doing fine.
I see you walking all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not tap dancing like I used to.
Oh.
I can play this banjo and tap dance. So I said I gotta get down to New Orleans, but it was really a spiritual thing, because there was some big demon hole on Charter Street I had to plug up. We go in there, and you said the music, when you're in the back working and I'm in the front working, some of those, it's a collaboration, a symbiosis that it works. It really, sometimes it clicks really well.
Yeah, definitely.
And we never rehearsed anything.
Right.
And you're in another room. So if it works that well, I must be doing something right. And there's definitely, since the last 3 years I've been working there, less and less demons. They closed the actual doorway because of there was some child trafficking and a lot of prostitution, and a lot of drugs. And I had nothing. I'd like to think I had something to do with that. Start around the corner, and it works around the corner. But
it's like the butterfly effect. When the butterfly flaps, it swings, eventually somewhere else makes a tornado.
Because a year later, what happened is NOPD, and probably the detective part of that, homicide and all that bullshit, drug and stuff, they actually sent officers to park right in front of, you might have been working there, when they would park right in front of the hotel or in front of
was this a couple months ago when they were cracking down?
They do it every so often, but when they shut them down finally, they had a big ring. There was trafficking, and they caught like 32 or 38 guys or something over on West Bank too. So we knocked a lot of demons back with the good gospel love songs that we do, because we're doing love songs. That's all we do is love songs.
Well, sometimes you ask, do you want a
drinking
love
song
or a drinking song? And I'll always say yes.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, yes.
You know what? It's the same. I should have thought it was you, because it sounds always like this. Your voice sounds childlike.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I'm going,
there's a kid shouting out, "Yeah, I want to hear about drinking songs."
Yeah, screw the love songs. I love drinking songs. But yeah, all ask, because some nights people, when they walk in the place, they walk right in front of you. And after all these years of doing this is all I've ever done. Beside my floor business, which I work alone doing that for peace of mind. But the music, you have to. And I don't know. I know there's like 10 other bands bands that play at this place, and to this day I still haven't heard all of them. And I've been working there 3 years. I just don't get to town that much. But you know, I don't know those bands, and I don't know who they are, or what they play. But the ones I did see, they don't. They play. They're great musicians, A-team musicians, top of the bunch. But a lot of them just they play, but they don't engage in shenanigans with the audience.
Yeah.
And the people that come to New Orleans, you know, my dad, like I said, my dad was a musician. He taught me well. He was a group. When I was 15, I could outplay him when we played together. But when I started getting better, I realized that I could never be the showman that my dad was. He could command a room of people, you know, 30 people, 300 people. He knew how to do it. And I always thought that I didn't have that until I came to New Orleans and seen the wacky people on the streets from all over the world. They come here right to the French Quarter. And I think Charter Street, they come right to Charter Street to mess with me. So
they seek you out.
Yeah,
like,
they seek me out. So that's why I do the love show. But when I started doing, it wasn't until like the last 6 months or so that I started asking about the drinking songs, because we want as many people in there as possible, strictly business, you know, to what the fire chief says is safe.
Right.
But I've been doing this so long, I can spot the ones that are going to have a good time and have a little compassion in them, and I can spot the downright drinking drunk demons that come in. And like I said, I don't want them going all the way back to see Amber in the back. They're not getting that far.
Yeah, and those people, like, I can spot them too. So I'm always just like, they're the people that stand too close to you and have a certain body language and words
and I
that they use.
A lot of people, and what you're doing, you know, social media, what you're doing, and it's hard to do that because it takes up a lot of time. I noticed that maybe half of the people that come see you, maybe more, come to see you because of word of mouth. I call it the powwow highway. You know, people hear that's a good show, you put on a good show, and they ask, and they don't spend a lot of time at the bar. The ones that come in have glass in their hand and they're wobbling past me.
Yeah.
And they sit down and they're not, that's the first thing they do is have a drink. Yeah. So, you know, that's when I'll go, okay, we're going to do drinking songs, because my dad taught me this. It's so much easier convincing them instead of causing shit to have another drink. I'll drink with you. You know? Yeah. Because I don't have a liver anymore. They took my liver out years ago, so I don't get drunk.
What? Really?
No. That's for another show. See, this is what we do. This is the kind of front man for my band I am. And I'm so blessed. The guys on stage, the first thing I told them when they joined me to play for a while is, if I ever make fun of you on stage or I say something that you don't want, you know, I offended you somehow, let me know and I'll steer clear of that, you know, the next show.
Yeah.
But these guys, the ones I'm with, they're so good because they don't have, two of them don't have microphones, and I would never give them microphones.
Because they can talk back. But then you'd be the talk back.
But they're feeding me jokes. Some of them have less tolerance than I do for some of the more mischievous people that come in.
No.
So yeah, so it's a living. You know it is.
Yeah, it is. So I want to go back. You were talking about being stuck on that mountain, and you picked your own support group.
Oh yeah, that
compassionate people. So what kind of qualities did you pick out?
It wasn't as you're always looking for quality friends, and the number one. It's funny when you recognize compassion in someone else. They have a lot more good qualities than bad qualities about them.
Yeah, nobody's completely 100%.
Yeah, and I don't mean like, you know, leaving a hair on the soap or drinking out of the milk carton in the house in the refrigerator. And it's not like that. It's just, you know, you don't want to be around them because their problems become your problems, and vice versa. And so you keep the bar high. Always keep the bar high on that. But when you're talking about building a mental health safety net, I call it a foundation of people that will keep me up and running. You know, even though there's something wrong with you, when you get depressed, you want to kill yourself. And like right now, when I think back on, you know, I had Up in Cripple Creek, it's rough and ready, man. It's like the Wild Woolly West still. And
I've been there. It is all like
Yeah.
Wild West gold.
yeah, and everybody packs guns. You walk into Walmart, everybody's packing. It's really weird. It's a weird place to be, but that's for another show. And I loved it, man. You know, like I said, I had to chop my own trees down to heat my own cabin up there. And but the foundation, you got to work. Everybody's got their circle. Once you bring the circle in from all your acquaintances to who's your family and your close friends and who are the compassionate ones in that group, that's what you got to work with. You know, it's like the IQ level might not all be consistent. Some of them may be more gassy than others. But you want to remember, the reason you're surrounding yourself with these particular people who are compassionate is that you probably knew them for a long time, or you trust them. So I went about this the only way I thought I should go about it, and I said, what am I going to need? You got to say, what I'm needy right now. I'm crushed emotionally. I'm just crushed. And I can't make sense. I'm not eating right. I'm not sleeping at all. There's 8 feet of snow outside. It's 30 below. I'm by myself with my dog. It's like,
you're like stuck there.
Yeah.
Did you ever have people calling you to remind you to eat, or?
Oh God, there's a gold mining pit. There's still gold mining up there, and the mining trucks are loaded coming down the mountain. And when they come off this first jag of the mountain, come past my 5 acres, they would downshift and they would backfire their trucks, bam, bam, and it often sounds like a high gauge, like a 308 or something. It sounds like a big heavy rifle.
That's pretty alarming.
Yeah, so I hired some guy to come over and fix my computer, and he was able to get to my house. When I told him I'd give him a ride back, he could never ride. So as we're coming out of the house, the mining trucks were coming by. They were backfiring, and we both knew what that was because we lived there in town. And but I drove him to town. 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, came back to the house, and there's a note from the sheriff's department pinned on my front door, and it says, "Please call the sheriff's department right away." And I'm going, what did I do? That's the first thing I thought was, I did something. And still trying to maintain, but things ain't right with me. I'm crazy, man. And the note, when I called the sheriff's department, one of the sheriffs got on the phone and he said, "Oh yeah, one of your neighbors near. No, granted, I live off the grid. Nearest neighbor's like a mile away." Mm. And the highway's out there, but nobody lives around me. And he says, so one of my neighbors heard gunshots. And apparently, everybody in town, there's only like 1,200 people or 1,500 people in Cripple Creek, Colorado. And everybody knew from me walking into the little grocery store there, I'd be talking to you just regular, and I'm feeling okay, but I could not turn the crying off. I'd be standing there telling jokes and talking, yeah, I'll come to the barbecue, and I'm just bawling my eyes out. Couldn't stop it. Really thought something in my brain was messed up.
Yeah.
So anyway, the sheriff said somebody heard gunshots, which were the trucks backfiring, and they thought I had offed myself.
Oh.
And I know. Well,
they're checking on you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had a good feeling, but see, up in the mountains there, if they heard gunshots and the sheriff come up and visit and said, "Yep, they dragged my body out," maybe a couple hours after the gurney takes me off in the hearse, they're going to come in my house, take my banjo and everything else I had in there. So I was going to give them I was in a real bad state of mind back then. But
you're going to take your banjo with you.
back to the foundation. So what I needed was. What I figured was what I was missing in my life was I needed normal things that we take for granted every day. Everybody's got that friend who's a drama queen.
I'm that friend.
No, Amber's not that one. Amber's definitely not that one. But so who I chose for that one was my sister back in Boston. Mm. And she's like, she can take simple thing like making pancakes in the morning into like a really solemn Black Veil event, and she's just talking shit about those pancakes. Just let me eat breakfast. She was my drama queen, my go-to drama queen. So I had her. I needed a medical guy because in those last couple of months, actually the last 48 hours, I had her in hospice. I had the hospice people come into the cabin, made sure everything was nice. It was a great cabin. I mean, it was a modern cabin. It wasn't like a log cabin. But hospice came in, gave me a bottle about this big of morphine, and I didn't have to practice to know how to shoot someone with morphine. And she explained near the end, every hour. And I was jetting her like every 10, 15 minutes as she was dying. She died in my arms. My son was with me, my 20-something-year-old son. And he was going to drive to town and pick up some, at one point, some DVDs for comedy. And Mom, I was sitting holding it. And you wanted to get deep, didn't you?
Yeah, we're getting nitty-gritty here.
Yeah, and yes. And I had her in my arms and popping her. And my son goes, he couldn't take it anymore. He said, I need to watch something funny. Let's see if we can cheer Mom up. She's passing away. Well, it'll make him happy. So it's a 2-mile drive to town, back to his place.
And how old was your son at that time?
He's 20, 25, 26, 27, somewhere. Yeah, well, yeah, about that. Maybe younger. I don't remember. But by the time he got back, she had passed away. And I remember my wife telling me that she didn't want him to see her die. So when he said he's going to get the DVDs, I was not in a good state of mind. So I didn't remember that fact that she laid on me, like, give him a graceful out. That's what she was saying to me. That is what compassionate people do. So isn't it amazing that I went through this crazy shit and I'm able to talk about compassion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. Who's gonna see this?
Everybody.
Really? Okay.
Hopefully.
How long did you hope that it would be?
Oh, I just like to keep it organic, like
I like your style.
At least
All right.
30 minutes.
You want to hear the rest of this? How about if we play a song first?
Yeah, let's play a song. Do you have something related to that?
Let me tune, because I tune for you because I care.
And while he's tuning, I would like to take a moment to thank Electric Cosmetics of New Orleans, who helped us get sparkly and glittery. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, he's got like some glitter fingers going on, so he can play the banjo.
I think what I'm going to do is incorporate this into the act.
That would be cool.
And the people you work with make these wonderful New Orleans headdresses.
Yeah, by Danielle Smith. She does some awesome stuff.
And as I walked into the Amber studio today, they have some on display out front. And there was what is it, the tampon queen?
Yeah, it's like a tampon headdress. It's really cool. It's all red with flowers, and then it has tampons.
Tampoons. It's so cool.
Sounds painful.
but I immediately asked
glitter.
like how much for it, and she said they're marked with prices, but that one wasn't marked with a price. But you can't let anybody else buy that. I want that.
I'll let her know.
And it's a gift. It's gonna be a gift from my girlfriend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's the best. That would be a cool burlesque act to do with that one.
Maybe I won't. Can you erase that part? I might not give it to her, because I'm really thinking about wearing that on stage. Because man, I can get a million laughs with that.
Oh, it would be great.
I can work up a whole 15 minutes just on that.
You should make some songs with that.
What are the prices of some of them?
I know some of them.
I'm not wearing a tampon thong. I'm not doing it. If that's what you're thinking, Amber, I'm not doing that.
We could just make you some pants with like a accidental red stain on the back.
A smear.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
So,
Let's do a song.
All right.
I don't go to church on Sunday. Don't get on my knees or pray. Memorize the books of the Bible. Got my own special way. Well, it's got to be chocolate Jesus. Chocolate chocolate Jesus inside. Got to be chocolate Jesus. Keep me satisfied.
Woo! Yes.
I made it up.
So tell me what chocolate Jesus is. Is it like the Easter chocolates, but
It's something like that.
or is it
No, I
like
actually saw Tom Waits, who wrote the song. He he got caught in a interview like this one. And when
Tom Waits is next on the show.
get away from my bottle, Tom. What was the point of the story? Oh yeah, the song. He wrote the song, and they interviewed him, and they asked him about the song, and he said that in some places, and I think he said down south. He wasn't specific other than down south. He was hearing stories about the candy store. Certain candy stores would be selling heroin out of, like black tar.
Oh.
Yeah. So chocolate Jesus. If you go in and ask for chocolate Jesus, you know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I won't be asking for that one.
No,
I don't need downers. I need uppers.
Oh Lord, so everybody gonna see this. Okay.
Anyway,
getting back to the kids. Now think about this.
Oh yeah.
I raised a kid, so you know, there's a difference between crazy and being in a room full of kids crazy. Two different things. And being with the kind of craziness that 25 like preschoolers and early grades. I think the youngest is 4 and the oldest is 10. I can totally relate to these kids. I get down into my inner child level, and where you think you're indestructible. And I really need that balance. And I think now through self-analyzation, when I used to do the hardwood floors and like I said, play out, and I'd only get 2 hours sleep a night. I love my music, and I love doing really beautiful hardwood floors out in Santa Monica. I did famous people's floors.
I bet, yeah.
And but I needed that balance. But see what happens when I did sleep. I'd get like 2 weeks later, I got a 72-hour hole. I would sleep 72 hours. And
that's a long time.
Yeah, but your body needs it. Your mind needs it. But I would forget any kind of depression, and there's no room. You don't really have any room for depression. But that is not how to stay healthy. It really isn't. You have to pick a balance, something that balances out, that something that's not going to kill you, or make you old early, or make you suffer later in life because of physical things, bad physical things that happen to you. Like, God, I can't believe, why football players get paid millions and millions, because when they're about my age, they can't walk. They have to pay people to wipe their pooper and everything. It's like horrible. People don't realize that stuff.
That's true. It's like Muhammad Ali. He's a great icon, but
and
he can't speak very well now.
Donald wanted to pardon him, but we won't go into that.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
His lawyers turned him down, but we won't go into that.
We won't talk about that hell portal.
That's for another show. If this one gets off the ground and is successful, Amber might have me back.
I will. So what you do with the kids is like, I think that's really inspiring because the kids need it. They need something else to do. Mm-hmm. And music, I know I was really intimidated by music when I was a kid because I couldn't read it, and I still can't read it. Like, I understand it, but it's just like looking at calculus to me, which.
Well, it's kind of like some guys after work, you do your 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a bar and have 2 martinis and mellow out. Some guys go to the Y and they play like 2 hours of squash or racquetball and they mellow out. But this instrument will drop your blood pressure. It does so many good things for your mind and your body when you get in that state of being relaxed.
That's true.
Which every one of these kids, first of all, they're inner city poor kids. And I actually thought that you have to be careful these days, with people bringing guns to classroom. And I didn't know. I thought they were going to be older, but I went, I'm the music teacher. They didn't want to kill me. They want to kill the math teacher or a real teacher.
Yeah. And in some countries, the age group that you're teaching, they do carry guns to school.
Well, this is my second week teaching them. I taught 4 days so far, and they are so beyond. When I was telling that one of the directors, there were 3 directors, and I was telling the story, I said, these kids are like, when you finally told me, I came in, I saw they're 4 to 10 years old. I'm thinking, they're not going to know anything. They're going to be like, they're underprivileged, they're poor kids. But the talent, and I'm explaining, like, I never seen kids this age group. They can play, they can sing, they can dance. Their imaginations is far. And as I'm explaining this to her, I'm looking at the look in their eyes, and they're going, "Yeah, probably because any kind of teaching this guy did is probably in some white schools." You know what I mean?
Oh.
And I'm going, when I told my girlfriend, who's the shrink, that's the first thing she says. She said, "Why did you tell him that? Like they're going to think that that you only taught." But I taught mixed kids. I'm in every kind of school, and I never think about that crap like most compassionate people don't. and it just blows me away that when I think about the schools that I were in, how strict they were in a certain sense, and I'm starting to think a lot about in these schools this particular inner city school. They don't have a lot of materials to work with. They don't have computers and pens and paper and ink. They get hand-me-downs, a lot of hand-me-downs, and you make do with what you do. For instance, they love me over there, and because of this one story. I got in there and they said they gave me a list. Make up a wish list of what you want to share with the kids.
Nice.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And I put tambourines, clickers, clackers, blah, blah, blah. So maybe a couple little guitars. I definitely need a piano.
Do you have any kazoos?
I made them. I know how to make cheap ones.
Oh, that's really cool.
So they did have my piano, and it's in tune. It's a beautiful piano, but they had nothing. And I'm there, oh my God, I can't get 25 kids in a class around one piano. It's just, they'll be pushing and shoving. Wedgies and all kinds of. I can't deal with that.
No wedgies allowed.
No wedgies in my school. So, they were doing the cooking class in the next room, and I walked over, and on one of the counters was a big box of something. I'm looking for something that's going to make noise, and you can use it as a percussion instrument. And I walked over, and lo and behold, God was with me. It was a huge box of rolling pins. The kind you roll bread out,
yeah.
But not the ones with the handles, the cool ones that are like tapered, and they were from Sweden or something. They got a box of Swedish rolling pins. So I picked them up, looked around, and brought them over from cooking into my class. They still don't know where the rolling pins went.
That's hilarious.
And they're wondering, like, man, this guy's making a lot of noise. Because these kids, they get these big, heavy-duty rolling pins, and they can play. They're beating on desks. They're beating on each other. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Do they clack them together?
Some of them clack them together. Some of them sit on the floor and got 2 independent clackers going there. But see, back to mental health. You got me thinking about this since you got me thinking about this. And I'm thinking, just me thinking about that, like reliving this last class, twice a week, for 2 hours each class. That's what I need instead of going and hammering in boards for a floor. This is the perfect balance for when I have to go into the hog, because I can get that's a stage, man. I can get total circus in there.
Yeah. Because
that's what the French Quarter reminds me of. It's like a circus people looking for the tent. They're looking for the tent. They don't know where it is, and they come in the mahogany. So we have to deal with those people.
But even though you're interacting with people at Mahogany, you're separated by the stage.
Yeah.
And that gives you a sense of security in a way. But
I've been doing this a real long time. It's a false sense of security.
I know
what
you mean.
Truly is.
Because anybody can break that barrier at any time.
There's that one. There's that one. You know what I'm always looking for?
I've been hurt more with flying bar glasses and beer glasses and stuff than anything ever. I mean, I've been in my fair share of stupid barroom, things,
Yeah.
No, you're the one. No, you're the one. I've been in a million of those, but I always get hurt with flying glass.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm always watching out for that. Most of the time, people they get pissed and they don't mean to throw it at you to hurt you. They're just throwing it.
Yeah.
And it'll make you go crazy.
Yeah, that's because it's kind of like it makes you feel. Well, I would feel like
so
protective all the
what
time.
made you go into showbiz? Because I think only crazy people go into showbiz.
Or showbiz makes you crazy. We don't know. No, I was crazy before, so I already know that. I will say that I took ballet when I was in 3rd grade, and I was really too shy at that age, and I was super shy. I never imagined myself on stage. But then, and my mom couldn't afford to pay for the 2nd year of ballet. But I was really too shy to be in front of people. I would get so nervous, I couldn't remember the steps and the moves when I was on stage.
But you stuck with it.
Well,
look at you
later, I had a best friend who was very.
She was an ectomorph. She was outgoing.
Yeah, she was very charming, and actually, all my boyfriends would dump me for her because she was outgoing, and I was cute, but I was shy.
And you still stayed her friend.
Yeah.
That's compassion, ladies and
gentlemen. I can't blame her. She was outgoing and she was fun to be around, and I liked being around her. So
is it better to be the one to start with the certain guy and not finish with the guy? You know what I mean? It's better.
She got my sock.
That's what I mean. She got the guys that you went, I don't think so.
I was they weren't meant to be,
It's amazing she still stayed friends with you. Oh, why did you steer him over here? Oh, Lord. We'll have to edit this part out.
Nah, forget it. All right. So she kind of got me out of my shell by being outgoing and stuff.
Showbiz is great. It really is.
And then I had an art studio in North Carolina where I was in front of people all of a sudden and had to talk about my art. But one night, out in the middle of the street, they had they call it an art hop or something like that. Yeah. I saw this girl spinning fire around her body to a big drum circle, and I was like, "That's what I want to do." It was so it's called poi, and it's Kevlar with soaked in a fuel, and then you light it on fire, and it's on a chain, and then you hold the chain. So it's it was invented in New Zealand. They use it to tell stories.
Yeah, I've seen the. Yeah.
Yeah. So. And I moved closer to people that I found out who did it, and so I started off carrying their safety gear and learning how to be the safety person, and then eventually I learned how to do that.
That's brilliant. You started in the safety department.
Yeah.
So it's I'm gonna burn myself.
Yeah, so I'm a super safety Nazi when it comes to fire stuff. But I started there with spinning fire around my body, and then I just kind of added more stuff because I don't know about you, but I personally get bored with what I do. The audience may have never seen what I do before. Then I'm like, I need something else. I got to change it up. So I started fire eating.
It's always your act is always something. It's in progression all the time. It's like a moving, living thing. It really is. Yeah, but see, getting hurt. I want to tell you something about getting hurt on stage. It's not really on stage. Dad, the piano player that we play with, he's an 82-year-old piano player.
Now, is he really your dad, or just somebody you call dad on stage?
No, I've known him a long time.
That's what I thought.
He's not really my dad, but he's 82, right? He could be my dad.
He's a great piano player.
Hilarious. Do you know he's got 2-3 PhDs and MAs, and he was in cancer research. He wrote his own grants for cancer research in California.
That's amazing.
Brilliant guy. That's another story. We should get him on this show.
Oh yeah.
Because he's medical brilliant. But I needed to solder a microphone together and use that night. And I had a hold of I went out to Harbor Freight and bought a cheap soldering, but it was a decent one. And the microphone had 2 wires and soldering on that. And I said, George, give me a hand with this little project, and maybe you could see it right there.
Ouch!
Isn't that gross? It's getting tight. It's getting tight. That's like the grossest thing you ever seen.
That is gross.
Well, anyway, George was holding the soldering gun, and I stepped up. I was across the table from him, and I stepped into the soldering gun. And I don't know why he had it on. That's the only thing that I got upset about was why you have it on. We're not soldering it yet. You're playing with the soldering gun. I got hurt, but
Oh,
he didn't come at me with the soldering gun. Yeah, he didn't. I walked into this, so it's gross. Huh?
do you think it would have been worse for him because he plays piano, or does it affect you too when you play banjo?
No, I mean, it's amazing when you start doing this compassionate thing, you start raising your own bar up and taking care of yourself, shit. I diffused it in my mind. After all the times I got hurt in my construction job over 30 years, this does not hurt at all.
Oh yeah, that's nothing in comparison,
Oh,
I'm sure.
nothing. No, this is just a little. If I did this on the job, I'd duct tape it up, go back to work, but I diffused it because I didn't want George. George was super cerebral, and he, even though he was holding the soldering gun, it was my fault. He's a drama queen, and he'll take this all on his shoulders. And I don't want to listen to. I'm sorry, I did this. I hope it doesn't fuck up your playing. Blah 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 blah. So I looked at him. I said, "You did not do this. This did not happen." And I just pretended it didn't happen. I still pretend it doesn't happen.
Oh.
Except when I held my hand like this, I went, "Ooh, what's that?" I saw it. Let's get close up.
So what's this written on your banjo right here?
What does it say?
I'm wrestling with radical incongruities that have deep suspicion of dogma. That is intense.
Well,
so is that your writing?
And if you notice, it's upside down so that
you can read
I can read it, because I'll sit there, and when the demons come in and they're really hopped up on you, they're drunk or they're on some shit, and they come up, they have to come in to the bands. And there's a doorman out there usually, but these doormen, these are the worst. What we should do is give our doormen. No, I'm not going to say it because they'll probably see this. But I mean, New Orleans doormen, they got a certain savoir faire to them. The ones in New York and Boston, they're
New York doesn't put up with anything, it seems like.
No, you can't get away with the stuff that goes on in the club. Like for instance, it was Christmas party. Tony at that time, because he has another absent place there, he's got 2 joints. He's got, over the course of a week, he'll have 5 doormen working for him. So of course they all have free food at the Christmas party. You were there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I wish. No.
Anyway,
I didn't start working
the
till,
room's
like,
packed.
February, I think.
They had a roast pig or something. Somebody cooked the ham. I think Flip cooked the ham.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. And it was wonderful. Everybody had food, but my band was up on stage playing, and the 5 doormen, all the other employees of his 2 places were standing around with plates of food and eating right in front of the stage. And the tip jar, that weird looking tip jar up on the big
goldfish thing.
It's a goldfish bowl on a big pole. Some guy, they got it on film. We watched the film. He runs in the front door, grabs our tips while we're playing, and runs out the door. And they got a camera pointing out to when he misjudged the step into the bar. And when he hit the sidewalk, he fell with the big giant bird cage tip jars. And he fell and it broke.
Oh.
And he picked up the pieces. And he hit the sidewalk. There weren't any cars. Landed out in the road, off the curb.
Yeah.
Got up and ran, and they never caught him. They found the tip jar was left. Actually, it's that same one.
Oh really?
Yeah, they soldered it together. So I asked the 5 on the microphone. I'm going, dude. There was only like $2-3 in the tip jar, but I said there was at least $2,000 or $3,000 in there.
Oh my god!
No, I said 2 or 3. It was only
yeah.
but that didn't seem to faze the doorman at all. And I says, why didn't you stop him? He came right in the middle. You 5 doormen.
Yeah.
Took my money and ran out the front door. And every one of those doormen, when I asked them off one at a time, went, "Hey, we weren't on." And I'm going,
but you're a human being right here.
Well, see, it's those little clues, Amber, that give you the makeup of someone. Like, are they compassionate?
Yeah, don't put them on your phone list.
If somebody gets hurt, are you gonna like, hey, I'm not on?
Oh yeah.
You know.
Let me tell you about compassion real quick.
Yeah.
Moving to New Orleans, so I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and there are a lot of homeless people
I got a
there.
good friend living up there.
Who is it?
Mike, Opium Mike.
Opium Mike. I'm gonna run into Opium Mike one day.
Let's get back to your story. I don't want to interrupt
yeah.
this.
So there are a lot of homeless people in Louisville, and I'm, you know, kind to them in certain ways. But then in New Orleans, there's probably 10 times as many homeless people, and people flock here because it's a tourist place, and tourists don't know that
Money.
you've been sitting in the same spot for 6 years begging for money. So tourists are going to give you money, money, money. Anyway, I've had to learn know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away,
That's
know when to run.
That's right.
And I think I have a good judge of character, but my husband is always like, "Do you have to make one weird friend a night?" Because
That's a great line. Do you have to make one weird friend a night?
Yeah, because I'll talk to somebody who's drunk trying to
Such
get
a good
sober,
joke.
and
That's
I'll
such
like
a good joke.
I'll set their alarm in their phone for them so they can get up in time to go to the sober living house. You know what I mean? Or
Oh my
but there
God.
was a guy in my neighborhood, just flat out on his back, skinny black guy with like his belt was tight as he could, and the pants were very loose. And it was sunny outside, very hot. His cart had been pushed in the street. And I was like, is this guy dying or is he taking a nap? Because in New Orleans, you don't really know.
Siesta time.
Yeah, so I pulled over my car. My husband and I got out of the car and we're like, "Sir, are you okay? Sir, sir." Well, compassionate me, I just kind of cautiously and gently touch his shoulder and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he just like,
Ooh,
He's like-
scared you?
well, I scared him, and he was like, "Get back! I'll stab you!" And like you could tell that he was not strong enough to do anything
I'll
he was
roll over
trying
and
to do.
stab you. Yeah,
And
that's
He
horrible.
was like, "How dare you disturb somebody?" And I'm like, so I have to be careful with how compassionate I can be, and it's hard in New Orleans.
That's really weird because my girlfriend works at the VA. We talked, this was years ago, about you have to have good borders.
Yeah,
Compassionate people, they want to be in the company of other compassionate people, but they respect borders.
Mm.
Like I have to respect those kids, even though they're only 4 to 10. You know, if they get unruly and they need to be disciplined, I find that if they need to be disciplined because they're unruly and bored, then it's the teacher's fault.
I agree.
You,
Yeah,
you have to keep them engaged all the time. And you know, it's not that far a step playing for those tourists up on stage and keeping those little kids engaged.
it's true.
It's not hard at all. So you know, getting back to the foundation, you got to build a foundation for yourself where it balances. You have a good balance in your life. You know, not everything's going to be great every day, but you know,
That's true. Sometimes things don't get better; they just get different.
sometimes I wish instead of getting worse, they just stayed the same for a while. But then you get bored.
Right.
There's always something. There's something going on.
So I did want to ask you before we close out, were you ever diagnosed with anything, or did you ever seek therapy
No.
for grief or anything like that?
I have not been to a medical doctor in over 40 years, except when they hit me in the car. I got my knees operated on, but I had to because I was knocked out, and they had to do what they had to do. And you know, given a choice, if I was awake, I probably said, "Let me think about it a little bit." But I needed this. I needed for them to do what they need to do to keep me out of pain. And that was the only time I really ever. When I was a little kid, I go to the doctor, dentist, and all that. But
Yeah.
why? I learned something from the cancer doctors that you know we're like the cancer support team. That's what they call it.
Mm.
The thing I went through with my wife dying, and they spend every bit of money on research for diagnostics. They can diagnose in 1855. What is that? You know, 150 years ago, they would call cancer leukemia. There's a million different things that'll kill you, they know what it is now, and they've actually in the last 150 years they've come up with cures and inoculations and things at birth that you'll be guaranteed to live and never get that disease or whatever.
Right.
But back then they didn't know what it was called, so they would call it consumption, which is something that consumes you.
Yeah.
You know, like
Takes you over.
yeah, it's a cootie of something. We don't know what it is. But talking to the really smart doctors, you know, and there was a lot of them in this cancer thing. All they can do is diagnose the shit. They can't cure anybody.
Mm.
And it's gotten that bar's even gotten lower because now they don't even want to bother fixing it. They want to make it not hurt, and they'll give you all kinds. That's why I have an opiate crisis.
They treat the symptoms.
Everybody. I do it too, man. I smoke my weed, and I quit for a week. I think that was one of the first things I said to you when I saw you Tuesday on there. I haven't smoked in a week, and then all of a sudden, all these aches and pains, my shoulders, my elbows, my knees, which you know they were hurting after a week. I went, no, I'm going to quit something. I'll quit smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
My girlfriend says, why would you quit smoking? There, because cigarettes are a pack a day for me, you know, $6 a pop.
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah, but it's about the same as weed. So
you take the
so I'm
only
still
the
I'm
one
still
thing
deciding
out.
which one I'm going to quit. I have to quit one or the other, so I have to think about this. So I'm really going to think
I
about
won't make any propaganda statements, but I'll tell you.
it. Propaganda?
Let's make a vote. Let's take a poll. Which should he quit smoking?
Cigarettes or marijuana?
Yeah, and
why?
why?
Don't forget to hit the little share button, that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And down there, just say smokes or weed. Smokes or weed. Which one should he quit?
Yeah, and tell us why, and if it would affect his mental health in any way. To quit one or to keep one. I'm curious.
You know, now that you mentioned that, I didn't think about that. It would affect my mental health, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know a lot of people have that time where they quit the cigarettes and they go real crazy, but then if they replace it with something else like exercise.
Well, when I was younger, because I started smoking cigarettes when I was like 12, maybe.
Well, it's a long time.
It was a long time. Dad smoked, but he quit. He quit at 40 and never picked one up. But I remember being out with him playing at a gig or something. He go, oh, I really want one bad. This is like 20, 30 years after he quit. Oh,
Yeah.
I want bad. So anyway.
It's in your face. Yeah.
But how long have we been? We've been on a little over an hour.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So let's wrap it up. And I want to say thank you to, once again, Electric Cosmetics for letting us use their
you plug them. I'll play some going out music.
Social media room here with the glitteriness. And Spider Murphy's going to take us out. This has been This Tangled Artist.
I should tune it first.
This is a beautiful banjo, by the way. What year did you say?
1917, Bacon and Day.
And that's when Storyville was dismantled.
Another time.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Awesome.
Did that go by fast?